Hey everybody, it's Joanne here, and I just wanted to come on and talk about, I've had some questions lately about how to buy an Oracle deck. So how do you choose, because there are hundreds, thousands of decks of Oracle cards out there. So how do you choose your first one? How do you get started? I know people are a little confused. So I have some ideas and some tips, and from my personal experience, from when I first began doing intuition and readings for myself and friends to now where I've been doing it professionally for about 15 years. So let's start at the beginning. So the first kind of deck that I love to do is, and for beginners I find this really helpful, is a deck where it tells you direct kind of statements. So first of all, every deck comes with a book on how to, what the definitions are, the meanings that the author or the designer have intended for that particular deck. So if you're ever confused, there's always a book, glaring here. So there's always a book with lots of instructions, and it tells you kind of detailed the intention that they put into the deck. Nowadays, I rarely read these unless I'm like really just curious because something kind of sparked my intuition. But otherwise, I am not really reading them. But they are wonderful if you're beginning. Now, you don't have to reference this all the time. Don't use it as a crutch. Use it more as a tool you can go to when you're confused or things are a little ambiguous, let's say. Okay, so each deck has one, and usually in the back there's some tips on, there's about the author and stuff, but in a lot of decks there's also tips on how to lay out different card patterns and stuff like that. So the first one is ones that give you direct instructions. They're usually really clear. You will get an immediate reference to your life. You'll be like, oh, okay, now I get it, you know. So this is one of them. So face your adversaries. Pretty straightforward. Accept disappointments gracefully. Again, it's probably going to ring true for somewhere in your life. Or tune out distractions. Maybe you will immediately notice that you've been on your phone too much, or your computer, or maybe your kids have been trying to get your attention and you've been so busy with work that you haven't been paying attention. Something will come up when this comes up. These are pretty direct. And this particular deck is from Sonia Choquette. Oops, sorry. The Divine Energy Oracle. And I use these all the time for my Wings on Wednesday. So when I do a lot of readings very quickly, sometimes people just need that really direct languaging. So it's that kind of deck or type of deck is perfect when you're first starting out because it's very direct, easy to connect to your life. There's not a lot of ambiguity there. Okay, so the next deck I have, this one is called the Gaia Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno. I've had this deck for a long time. I love it. Now, I usually buy my decks, I have to admit, by the artwork because I'm very visual. I like nice artwork. I also am very tactile, so I like the feel of some decks. The first deck that I talked about has a really kind of like a velvety feel to the card, so I liked that about it. This deck it's gone one step towards your own interpretation, let's say. So these ones they still give directions, but they're a little bit more open. So like this one says, rising above, clarity, freedom, solution. So it gives you more information than just one or two words. And again, the artwork is beautiful on these. Oops. And attachment. So letting go, restriction, and fear. So something in those words will connect somewhere in your life and as you get an intuitive hit. And the last one for this example is moonlight, travel, romance, and potential. Ooh. Now, you may connect to, when you pull a card like this, you may connect to something in the image or one of the words or all of them, or simply the moonlight may strike a chord with you. So it gives you some more options where that connection is going to happen, where you're going to feel that familiarity or that that ding of your intuition going off, like, oh, this is what the universe wants to tell me, right? So these are kind of like the next layer of, as you're practicing your intuition, these are great because they give you some more options to let your intuition have more input. Then we get into the ones that are leave a lot open to interpretation, let's say. So this one is, I love this deck by Colette Baron-Reid and Alberto Villaldo. It's called the Shamans Dream. Oops. This is one of my newer decks, and I don't get any recognition from them by putting these up. These are just out of my own collection that I really like. So this is a newer one that I got, and I just felt pulled towards the deck. For inexplicable reasons. I don't know, but that's usually how our decks appeal to us. You'll just be pulled to one over another. Now, these are kind of another step up, but they still give you a couple of options. So it has the number at the top, just like a tarot deck. So 59, that may ring something. Something in the imaging may connect with you, or something in the wording. So this one is a wailing tree, all about reconciliations. So that may be really like something in those options will hit home for you, or have you pulled into like, oh, let's see where that one's coming. Like what is it what's the message that the universe wants to tell me? Oracle cards are exactly that. They're a tool of intuition. So they're a tool that we use to allow a deeper connection or a clearer communication between the universe or our higher selves and ourselves. So this is, it's a tool, and the more tools you have in the toolbox, the more things you can do, kind of thing. So sometimes it's all about the tools, and as you're learning, don't beat yourself up. Just go with the flow. If it doesn't make any sense, it's okay, because sometimes, even now, I'll pull a card and I'll be like, it doesn't make any sense to, like, for myself, I'll be like, I don't know where this fits in, but I tell you 2 days later, it totally hits home. Or somebody will say something and it'll be the bridge. Oh, there we go. It'll be the bridge or connection between things, and then it will make sense. Does that make sense? Okay. So another one from this deck is the Spirit of the River, Movement Toward Adventure. Again, it may be the number, it may be the spirit of the river, it may be movement toward adventure that shows up for you, that rings a bell. It all depends on the day and the time and what's going on with you and the message that the universe or your higher self is hoping to convey. So the last one that I have is, now, lots of people do tarot readings. I'm not one of them. I think it's because the original tarot deck, the images never appealed to me. They really were kind of creepy to me, or whatever it was. Anyways, just doing tarot kind of never appealed to me. I never went out of my way to learn to do it. However, I love the cards. So now that there's new decks and all this stuff. So this is a deck by Colette Baron-Reid. It's called The Good Tarot. And it is a beautiful deck. And I bought it because I love the artwork. And I was, again, pulled toward the deck. I was like inspired to explore it more. Now, just because it's tarot doesn't mean that I use it as tarot. If you do tarot readings, then by all means go ahead and use it as a tarot deck. But if you don't do tarot or haven't gotten that far yet, then I use them as oracle cards. So I again use these when I do online readings for a bunch of people. I do a 1-card free reading most Wednesdays, or at least once a week. And I use these because they are a wonderful tool as I go quickly from one person to another to allow me to shift my direction. So here's some examples from this one. So this one is, and all it has is this gorgeous picture and 2 of earth. Now, if I was to pull this in a reading, it may be the picture that gives me an insight. It may be earth. It may be somebody needs to connect more to nature. It may be the 2 Might be the 2. Maybe on the 2nd of the month I see something for you, or there's 2 hurdles ahead. This is, connecting. Anyway, however it shows up. This is to use these as an oracle card. I would not suggest them if you're buying your first deck, because it's almost entirely up to you to interpret your intuition. This gives you a direction, but it doesn't give you a map. It gives you a direction or an area to flow into, but not more specific instructions. Not like the first deck that gives you really specific instructions on like where to go or what to do. Like this one. This one is like very direct. This one is open to interpretation and your own intuitive hits and things like that. So this is, once you get a little bit more practiced and good at it, then this one is lovely. So again, the 5 of fire. So it could be the picture, it could be the fire, it could be 5, whatever you're pulled for. So again, so this is a tarot deck, but I don't always use it. I don't use it as tarot. I use it as an oracle deck. So I hope that helped. I hope you enjoy your first oracle cards, and there are so many cards. See what appeals to you. There are plenty of card decks out there that are specific. So maybe you like Wiccan, maybe you like Moon, maybe you're into numerology, maybe you love fairies, angels, elves. There is a deck for everybody. So enjoy, have fun, and that's the point. Really, when you're doing your oracle deck, have fun with it. This is a tool. It's not intuition lives in your imagination. So that's where you want to come from with this. You want to have fun with it, play with it. Don't take it too seriously at first. Get lots and lots of practice in for yourself. Okay, so I will see you soon, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below if you have a question, and I am currently running workshops all about tools of intuition, including oracle decks and other tools, and it's a lot of fun, and it's online. So if you're interested in that, leave a comment, or I will leave the link below where you can find out more information. Thanks everybody, and you have a fabulous day, and we'll see you soon.